Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Christine Reed, Director of Training and Support for Nutralysis. My husband, Dr. Charles Reed of Reed Chiropractic Clinic, who also has a nutrition practice, partnered with one of his nutrition patients and came up with the idea for this software to help streamline his patient flow. The purpose of tonight's webinar is to give you an overview of Nutralysis and how it can help you in your office and help you streamline your patient flow. With me tonight is Josiah Bryan. He is the Director of Software Development at Nutralysis, and he has an interesting story, actually, of how this software was born. Josiah?
Yes, thanks for that, Christine. I'm actually that patient that Christine spoke of. I'm the patient of Dr. Reed. When I was seeing him for a number of visits for nutrition, for whatever it was he was seeing me for, he said to me one day, he brought in a stack of papers and showed me these papers and said, look at all the paperwork I have to shuffle through in order to just get a complete picture of where you're at and how much you've improved over time. And he knew I was a software guy and said, is there anything you can do to help me with this? And so, of course, you know, computers being good at organizing information, I said, of course we can help you with that. And so thus, the idea for Nutralysis was born to help his office make a dent in paperwork and to keep him organized. We created a system called Nutralysis.
Right, and Josiah, since it was born out of a need, you know, we sort of started watching what was happening in our own office here, and we noticed that the patient flow improved, and the staff had more time for important tasks, and the patients were loving the schedules and streamlined front desk service. Our inventory problems virtually disappeared, and we began seeing more patients and selling more supplements. That was kind of our aha moment. My husband knew he was onto something, so he shared it with his mentor, Dr. Stuart White of Whole Health Associates in Texas. And Dr. White speaks throughout the country to nutrition practitioners and has one of the largest nutrition practices in the country. He was interested, but kind of cautious, as he had already put $50,000 into other attempts to design software that would work for his busy office. Well, Nutralysis then worked closely with Dr. White over the next few months to design a system that would solve the problems nutrition offices have with patient flow. Once Dr. White began using the software, he was a total convert. He receives no remuneration from Nutralysis and is not invested in the company. However, the benefits he has observed through streamlining his office have made him a very outspoken fan. If you have questions during the seminar, please feel free to submit them, and at the end of the seminar, we'll be happy to answer them. Well, I'm going to have Josiah get us started, and can you just begin our overview tonight, please?
Absolutely, Christine. I want to introduce to you a patient named Joe Smith. Joe was in our demo office recently for a variety of ailments. Joe is 63 years old, and we've already seen him one time. We saw him last month for a visit, and we took a case history with Joe. You can see Joe's picture here smiling back at us from the top of the screen, along with the basic demographic information about Joe. And on the right-hand side, you can see that Joe's improved a little bit since the last time we saw Joe. His most recent results from his case history that we take are in that very first column of colors you see. And this is what we talked with Joe about when he came in. Let me jump right in and show you what Joe's case history looks like that we took for him today. This is the case history for Joe. And you can see that it's a very colorful form. It allows you to easily take a look at it when you're sitting knee to knee with Joe and talking with him about what's going on in his life, and he's telling you about his various ailments, about his story. You can quickly both see on the right-hand side where he was last time we saw him. You can see here's Joe's visit on the right, where he was last month, and then answer the questions and answer what he's telling you on the left. The colors indicate the various severity levels. We've got the yellow, mild, blue, moderate, and red is going to be severe. So this is how your interaction with Joe when you're sitting knee to knee will look like. And green, of course, is indicating a resolved issue. Everything's taken care of for that question. Moving on, when you're done taking the case history with Joe, we took him and took a system strength analysis muscle test with Joe. We have example templates. We have templates for system strength analysis, NRT, MFT, NET, as well as a variety of other muscle tests in Nutralysis. Well, for Joe, we decided we're going to do a system strength analysis muscle test. This might be a good time to mention that if you're listening to the sound of my voice right now, I want to invite you to a SSA webinar where you can learn all about system strength analysis with Dr. Stuart White. He is graciously doing a free webinar for everybody that wants to learn. That'll be the last Wednesday of this month, March 30th at 8 o'clock Eastern. For more information on the SSA webinar, go to our website at nutrls.com/SSA or email our support team and we'll get you connected with that. Back to the matter at hand. The system strength analysis muscle test, when we did this with Joe, we found that his HPA axis was weak. So we indicated that it was positive, and Nutralysis gives us a number of suggested supplements that we could offer and see if Joe's body responds to this. We have supplements in there professionally recommended by Dr. White, and then our system, Nutralysis, automatically analyzes the results that all the practitioners are getting through Nutralysis, analyzes them, and gives you real-time recommendations about what might strengthen the HPA axis for Joe. So as you're sitting there doing the muscle test with Joe, you have instant access to the minds and the results from practitioners around the country using Nutralysis. And that's available under the heading Tracealytics. You can see that on the right-hand side of the screen, about a third of the way down. And those are the recommended supplements for the HPA axis for Tracealytics. And this is the way that we did the SSA muscle test for Joe. And Christine, this reminds me of a time that we were at Dr. White's seminar. Would you tell me about that time that you heard him talk about SSA and Tracealytics?
Well, when we were at the seminar, it was kind of fun because we heard him mention how valuable Tracealytics are to the profession. It validates and corroborates results achieved throughout the country and compiles data that helps confirm choices. This is an incredible resource for the beginning nutrition office, and it's fantastic for large established practices to be able to see a larger body of knowledge. So everyone benefits from the work of others in the field.
That's exactly right. And it's really an exciting feature as more and more practitioners are pouring their hearts out with these patients and working towards the wellness of each individual patient. Those results of what's bringing wellness to their patients is going in here and contributing to a larger body of knowledge for every one of us to benefit from and to learn from. So we're really learning from each other. It's really a community that we're learning from here. After we did the SSA muscle test with Joe, we moved on to his nutrition schedule. And the nutrition schedule for Joe is abbreviated here to fit all on the screen. I'll show you the full version of it here in a minute. But in this abbreviated form, this is what our nutrition schedule program looks like when we put it together. It easily summarized the total number of bottles and the cost of the schedule, so we didn't have to sit there and add up the amount of bottles. So when you saw Joe, when he walked into your office, and you put the schedule together, you didn't have to take the time to add up the supplements or to handwrite this out. Everything's calculated for you instantly, including the number of bottles.
Wouldn't you agree that seems to be one of the favorite features of the system? I think that figuring out how many bottles the patient needs for 30 days or 60 days, depending on when your patient is going to see you again, is probably one of the most annoying parts of the nutrition schedule. So being able to figure that out with the touch of a button, and also being able to figure out discounts, because I know that many offices give discounts for different reasons, whether it's an employee discount, a family discount, the length of time they've been with the office. But it's easy to just put in the discounted number in the discount box. It will automatically figure out the total cost for the client.
That's really true. I've heard so many people tell me how much time that saves their staff, not having to figure out the discount, remember the discount, run back and ask the doctor, what do you want for this? It's really the core of the system, being able to expedite and streamline that process of putting together a nutrition schedule. Allow me to show you what Joe's printed nutrition schedule looked like. So by the time Joe got up to the front desk, the office staff at the front desk already had this printed copy ready to hand out to Joe. And you see it's a very personalized schedule for your office. It has your office name on the right-hand side, your doctor's information contact, the complete schedule of what he's supposed to take, when he's supposed to take it, but even more valuable to your patients, and this is what really motivates them, a lot of our patients anyways, to take the supplements and to save them asking you questions. It shows you automatically there with virtually no effort on your part what the supplements are for. If you look at the bottom of the screen there, and that goes on for another page or two. We didn't have room to show it on the slide, but you can see it included information about what these supplements are for. And I found a lot of offices told me how valuable that is for their patients, because they really want to know what these supplements are for that they're taking. So by the time that Joe got to the front desk, they already had his supplements picked, packed, and the schedule printed off for him. Not only did Joe have those printed off, or Joe had the receipt printed off, he also had an email on his cell phone by the time he got to the front desk. Our doctor was able to push a button, at the push of a button, send this automated email, which included a copy of Joe's nutrition schedule as a PDF. And this made it really easy for your patient Joe to, anytime he got home, he could pull this up from his smartphone on his patient portal, which is automatically included, and he can see his nutrition schedule. So if he ever loses his refrigerator sheet copy of it, he can download and print another one right here. And this is what the patient portal looks like from Joe's perspective. We have just a whole suite of features that we could talk about and that makes this streamlined for your office and for your patient. Let me jump back and show you one other thing that relates to your office. And one thing that is really helpful is this incredible suite of reports that we have. These help you keep an eye on your practice and manage your practice. We started with just a few reports, but over time, we've listened to the practitioners that have joined our family, and they talked to us about what would help them. And we've heard many of your needs, and we've heard what would help you manage your practice, and we've added these reports as we've grown. And so many of these reports have been born out of direct needs from our practitioners. Of particular interest in here, you will see about the fourth row down, there's Tracelytics reports, where you can explore the library of knowledge offered by Tracelytics about what helps other practitioners. Nutralysis also has a full-featured inventory control system, and that's evidenced here in the top right corner. You have the ideal quantity estimate. That's an automated algorithm which helps you figure out how much inventory you should hold on your shelf. We also have a complete office statistics report to help you keep track of what's going on in your office. This just barely scratches the surface of the system. It barely covers all the features. And I urge you, if you're curious about this, if you want more information, if you want to delve into what these reports have to offer your system, give us a call. Our number is just 248-206-3655, or email our support team, support@nutrls.com, and we'll set you up with a personal demo, a time that you can walk through the system and explore it in depth for yourself. But really, this just scratches the tip of the iceberg of this system. These are some of the features that we've seen makes the most impact in your office and in patients' lives.
As you can see, thank you so much, Josiah, that was great. But as you can see, this is a very robust system. And there's a lot of depth to it. We would love to show you everything, but we realize you've worked hard today and you need to get on with your evening. Our training staff is prepared to help you set up training, to help you use the features that will most benefit your office. And the one thing we can see is that Nutralysis users improve their patient flow, they help more patients, they streamline their front desk interaction, they produce professional reports, they sell more supplements, they manage their supplement inventory, they increase their bottom line. On top of that, this is cloud-based, so it works anywhere from any device, your phone, tablet, iPad, computer. And it was designed by nutrition offices for nutrition offices. So if you will see the cost, the seminar discount of $50 will be available to people who attend this webinar until March 20th. You should have received an email with a link to get started with this innovative software. So to get started, you can go to the link, fill in the information, and that will enable you to go in and start setting up your office. Upon setting up your office, you will receive some training emails that will help you with the basics of getting your correct information in. You can then schedule training, and we set up a time for you and your office. So we can help train your office users too. Now the discount of $50 will mean that the fee the startup cost, instead of $195, will be $145 for you. And that is good and through the 20th. So in closing, I would just like to thank you so much for joining us tonight. I realize you work hard. Some of you have been seminars over the weekend. We wanted to honor your time and keep it under 20 minutes. And I want to thank you so much for joining us. And I want to just let Josiah Bryan speak to you for another minute. Thank you so much for a great tour of the system tonight, Josiah.
Thanks, everybody. I just want to give you that information about the SSA webinar one more time. The SSA webinar is coming up at the end of this month, where Dr. Stuart White will be joining the Nutralysis team for an in-depth webinar dedicated just to system strength analysis. That information is on our website at nutrls.com/SSA, nutrls.com/SSA. That webinar goes live promptly at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on Wednesday, March the 30th. And I encourage you to join us for that webinar. And if you know other doctors that would be interested in this webinar, please pass along this word. This is a completely free webinar. Dr. White is going to be teaching on system strength analysis, muscle testing, and going in depth on how to do SSA. Again, thank you for joining us tonight. And please give us a call and get in touch with us for more questions. And we look forward to working with you in your office. Have a great night, everybody.